Before we continue, Lonzo, let me remind everybody to hit that like button. We're about halfway through the show, and if you are not subscribed and you like what you're hearing, please hit that subscribe button. Now, I want to talk more about this TK interview, Lonzo. I have another short clip I want to play for you. And shout out to Vlad TV. This is where you can find the clip of TK Kirkland, who was very close to N.W.A. He used to tour with them. But Vlad mentioned his DOC interview, going back to DOC. And he asked the DOC what the difference between the making of Straight Outta Compton and the making of the Chronic album. And shout out to Marlon Cozy. Good looking out, man. He said no more critical thinking classes. Good looking out, brother. But here is TK Kirkland's response to the DOC and his question about the difference between the making of the Chronic. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Straight Outta Compton and the Chronic.
Entertainment. We have an interview with DOC. What was the difference between the making of Straight Outta Compton versus the Chronic? He said, well, working on Straight Outta Compton, there were some guys that were doing some things here and there in the street, but everyone there was an aspiring musician. Mm-hmm. They really wanted to be there. They really was trying to develop their craft. They really were into the music. They really were into the art. Now you fast forward to Death Row Records, and there was guys there in the studio that were either coming out of jail or going to jail.
Yeah.
They had absolutely no interest in rapping, producing, managing. They were just there to just basically fuck with people. It wasn't like that with N.W.A. because they weren't really street guys. No.
Talk to me, Lons.
That's true shit. That's true shit, Doc. You know, that's one reason why I walked away from the record business at that time, because it changed. Before N.W.A. became N.W.A., the streets were already evolving to something different, but it hadn't engulfed the streets yet. It was still on the early stages of the evolution pre-gangster. And at some point in time, the streets, everything went full-blown gangster, and you had to be prepared to kill a motherfucker at any given moment. And here's the crazy part, for the dumbest shit, you had to be prepared to kill a motherfucker for the dumbest shit or get killed. And for me, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, man. So I had to walk away from this shit. It was not something I wanted to be a part of. My nightclubs always looked out for me. They took care of me. And I had other options. I didn't have to go down that road. Most of the guys I talked to, there is some regret, man. There is some regret for taking that path, especially when they know that wasn't something that wasn't who they were. But it was a thing to do at that time. And when guys ask me, man, you ever thought about what happened? What if? Yeah, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd probably be in jail or got shot by now. I know me. And most cats don't know me, but they think they know me. But I ain't never said I was dangerous. I just ain't no punk. I like to laugh and joke around, but shit, when somebody's pressing you, the jokes go out the goddamn window. Now what you gonna do? You know, and that's what happens when that's how somebody end up dead or somebody end up in jail. And whatever it was, 9 times out of 10, it probably wasn't worth the hassle. The end of the results.
Facts. Now, The Chronic is a legendary album. I know you were kind of out of the game at that point or at that period of time, but do you remember hearing anything about The Chronic? Because I know you still had your hands in the street. Probably you still knew people and knew people who were involved. What do you remember about that period of time before The Chronic dropped?
Before The Chronic dropped, man, I believe before The Chronic dropped, we had the soundtrack to Above the Rim, if I ain't mistaken. The soundtrack to Above the Rim came out first.
No, I think Chronic came out. Above the Rim came after The Chronic for sure. You might be thinking about Above the Rim with Tupac and all that. Yep, that one came for sure. I'll look it up, but I'm pretty sure Deep Cover is probably what you're thinking.
Okay, might be Deep Cover, but I remember.
Yeah, Deep Cover.
Look it up for sure. I remember bumping the shit. I remember bumping the shit out of the Deep Cover soundtrack. Okay, at my house.
Above the Rim was 94. and Chronic was 93.
Okay, cool. It was a different era, man, because even then, I remember bumping the shit out of the album. And at that time, you've been in my house before. The upper part of my house, Jeff D, the owner of the club, had gave me a huge ass above ground pool. And me and my partners put it together. We filled it up with water, and we was doing the shit that Negroes started doing later on in the videos, girls and pool and the water. But everybody that I knew at that time was selling dope. Everybody I knew at that time was selling dope. And I would go out in the morning and clean the pool, and I would find crack in my pool. You know, crack don't, anybody know about crack? Crack don't dissolve in water. Crack does not dissolve in water. And I found a couple of bags of crack in my pool. And, you know, and that's what they was just about to start cracking down too. And I told them, I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. And the street, it was a good time, but it was a dark time. It was a good time because you didn't know who was, you wasn't, one day the guy is selling, next day the nigga smoking. You know, you got cats flipping like that. And everybody know you don't get high on your own supply. But, and then you guys had some guys who was undercover smoking, who was selling but smoking undercover. And you didn't know until it was too late. Real talk.
Damn. Yeah. Going back to Deep Cover, which came out in 91, which is the first time anyone got the chance to hear this rapper from Long Beach by the name of Snoop Doggy Dogg. What were your first impressions when you heard Snoop and then you kind of, you know, saw his rise?
I remember his whole situation because he had caught that case. If I'm mistaken, around the same time. When did he catch his case? Was it 89 or 90?
It was right. It was that time. It was actually before his album. So it was like 91.
Yeah.
I think. Like the chat will correct me, but I think it was like 91.
When I first heard the cut, I thought it was dope. It was banging. Who was this nasal kid? It's like he need to blow his nose or some shit. Okay. That was the first thing I thought about. Damn, nigga, why don't you blow your nose? Okay. But that's how he talked. And it was a dope track. You know, I love the movie. The movie was the shit. I still watch the movie right to this day. And that was pretty much it. I didn't think much of it because it was a good track, bumping like a summer gun. It was part of a soundtrack to a good movie, and I didn't think no more about it. And they say, homeboy fighting the murder case. I thought it was kind of weird that he was.
Yeah, and then he just blew up. I remember the anticipation.
I thought it was kind of weird that he was able to say 187 on the undercover cop. I thought that was fuck. It's like that now. Okay, said it with Venom.
Really? So even after hearing "Fuck the Police" and all that, you thought that was it? This was 91. Keep in mind, everybody. This is 30 years ago, but that's how you felt back then, huh?
I mean, you heard "Fuck the Police." You never heard anybody say "Fuck, I'm gonna kill him." That's a little bit different. Okay. That's a little bit different. 187 on the undercover cop. Yeah. And you don't stop. And I'm like, damn. It rhymed though.